Hi, it's JP Smith and welcome back to the final episode of Boxing Saves Lives as part of the James Campbell Collective. First of all, I would just want to say a massive thank you to James Campbell and Catherine Holloway and the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire for giving us this platform to raise awareness of how boxing can change people's lives. I'd also like to thank Linus Shudofia and Michelle Nelson for their tireless work throughout lockdown and now beyond, every week putting up sessions, getting people fit. Their hard work and their dedication has been absolutely relentless throughout, and I'm eternally grateful for the hard work they've done for us. Today's session will be a montage of the 15 interviews that we've carried out throughout the whole James Campbell Collective as part of us being Boxing Saves Lives. So each one is just a little nugget of gold from each interview. So we've put them all together. You can have a look and feel free to go back and watch all of the interviews in full, because we're probably a little bit biased, but they've all been fantastic all the way through. So thank you again to James Campbell, and thank you to Catherine Holloway and the Police and Crime Commissioner's Office for giving us this opportunity. And you know what? We're just beginning now. The hard work starts here for Boxing Saves Lives. So follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, because you've been fantastic being part of our journey, and the journey's just starting. So thanks very much.
The thing is, what I wanted to say was that the appeal changed from me wanting to be really fit and, train like the boxers to actually how amazing boxing is to young people's lives. And that, because I've got two young boys, and that just made me so sold on boxing training. And so that made me wanted to get more involved. And that's why I wanted to be a coach, because I realized there's so much more to it than just the training. You can boxing can help with the discipline. Boxing, there's a long list of things that it can do to young people, most especially from internally, and obviously that's going to then help them out and about. And like I've said, I've spoken to you before, we've had so many, I've had parents come to talk to me after they've brought their kids, after literally just like maybe a month, so a few sessions in, they've said they're a lot more confident, they're a lot more positive, they look forward to the sessions, and they gives them something to look forward to, which obviously is great, because if they're looking forward to coming boxing, then they're not looking elsewhere for
And is that a big major cause of concern? Is it, if we take a little step back from your situation, were you doing the PT work anyway, or was this kind of part of the catalyst to make you become a PT? Which way around did you do it?
I was training to become a PT. I don't know if you know. I lost 4 stones over the space of about just under 2 years, a year and a half or so. So I was absolutely out of shape, completely out of shape. I had zero, interest in fitness at the time. I was doing life as I call it. So I started working on myself. And as that grew, as I lost the weight and I became more aware of nutrition and fitness, I started to train as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
When I qualified, at the same time as I was doing that, I was getting into boxing as well. So by the time I qualified as a personal trainer, I was very close to becoming a boxing coach at the same time. It was kind of all happening at the same time. And so it kind of just worked well, because I really love, I love groundwork.
Honestly, you should be in a museum. You're the only person I ever know involved in boxing who loves the groundwork part.
Oh, I love it.
So you're a nightmare as a coach, obviously. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, so because of all of that, I mean, the personal training side I felt was really good. Kind of it was a benefit in the training, in a boxing training environment, because it meant that I could help the guys train safer. I could help, make sure that they're doing the form correct, tailor their training as well to more boxing specific, which has been so I love that, it's been so nice to specialize in boxing training, so like explosive movements and little footwork drills and things like that. So I've had to it's been a huge learning curve for me. It's been a great growth for myself. But honestly speaking, when I look at the kids, especially the youth, the teenagers that we work with, I'm so proud. Honestly,
that's great. That's amazing.
Because they just put in so much work, exactly what I expect or what I want, but they're actually delivering. and you know their behavior is amazing. We don't have issues at the club because you know people know that they need to be on best behavior. They've got the discipline, or they're learning the discipline. They're learning that,
Yeah.
you know, they just get it, which is really nice. And you know, for those who don't, it takes a little while, but they come around because they see that
Yeah.
this is required in order to actually grow, and that's what most people are after, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a lot of disappointment from not making it in football, and so I just wanted to get active. The real time when I actually first came, when I say I really thought this is where I wanted to be, is when I went to Bad Boys Boxing Gym, because Errol McDonald, like honestly, he changed my outlook on the sport and on life, really, because he just almost just said, look, you can do it. It doesn't matter how fat you are, how small you are, how tall you are. Like, there is always a way. And the lads at the gym, like they welcome me like they were my brothers, and like they all are still to this day. I mean, we're a very close knit team. Anyone that comes into the gym, that Errol really drills into us that, and it's the rules of the gym that you have to shake everybody's hand before you start the session.
Yeah.
Everybody has to shake everybody's hand. Now, if you're at 12, 13 years old, bit of a bad boy off the street, well, the only way you're going to make it in the gym is if you go around and shake everybody's hand. No, that's a sign of respect.
That's a really good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's instilling respect. And anyone that comes to the gym, whether it's sparring, we shake their hands all before, and it's all about honor and respect. And Errol has fundamentally taught that, instilled that into all of us. So when I came to the boxing gym, it was the same. I see Kay's propped up.
I've just clocked in there. Hello, Kay. Hello, mate.
Yes, Kay. But Kay will tell you the same. Kay came up to spar probably around 3-4 years ago. It's it was the same concept. When he came in the gym, everybody shook his hand. Everybody shook his hand, and before he went, he shook everybody's hand.
Yeah.
And it's just those little things that can teach you the fundamentals of not only boxing is what we learned in the gym, but also for life.
That was going to be the next question. How do you think it transitions? How do you think that transitions between, you know, the gym and taking on? Because my idea is that, you know, it could be young children who maybe, you know, behavior issues and stuff like that. Because we'll often see a mum or dad take their kid to the gym and go, look, you know, he's not, you know, getting involved. He's getting dragged into things he doesn't, you know, we don't want him to be involved in. He probably doesn't want to be involved in. How do you think the boxing side of it, you know, from your experience, how does that change from them going out the door of the boxing gym? How does that move over? How do those skills transfer?
Well, I think fundamentally, just that first thing that Errol always gets us to do, and is shake people's hands. It's just to show respect, show humility. And there's a famous teaching, I can't remember who from, or a famous quote, I should say, and it's that the most powerful people on the planet are those who are powerful, but use humility as their main power. And I think that's what boxing teaches you. It provides you with the tools to be powerful and potentially be tyrannical if you choose to use it. Yeah. But instead, you don't. You choose to use those powers that you've developed and that strength that you've developed to be humble, and treat people with respect. And when you have that own self-confidence in yourself, that you are able to first, like, defend yourself. You become competent in a skill, because competency and conscientiousness are key determinants of success in any profession. So just knowing that, to a lot of kids out there that have been on the streets, that aren't doing well in school, to come into the boxing gym and just to throw a jab right hand and be competent at it, that is empowering itself. Yeah. To say, I am good at something. Then you can transition, you can build on that. And then when you go out into the streets, you say, well, I may not be the best at English, but I'm competent at boxing. And that instills a certain element of self-confidence. When you combine that with the humility of boxing and certain teachers of, certainly the gyms that, majority of the gyms that I've been in, that it teaches you, I think that's a powerful message in which it teaches and transitions outside of the boxing gym.
But to come back and like show that it can be done, because like that it just I would have believed, like I would have believed it could be done. So I when I went through it myself, and like I thought it was impossible. I kind of conceded. That's it. I won't ever fight again. I'm finished now.
Yeah.
And but to see Tyson do it, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more biased because I know what it's like.
Yeah.
But he's inspirational, not just as a boxer, but as a man.
As a man, yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And it's, you know, you've got people like that in the sport, and you see people like Anthony Joshua, and they inspire people in different ways as well, because obviously his background, what we talked about as well in Boxing Saves Lives, is, you know, you can easily get dragged into stuff, especially now when we look at things like county lines now.
Yeah.
You can so easily get, I know I would have been the first to criticise Anthony Joshua, was doing that, especially because he's somewhat for us being from Newton, but that's a different story. But, you know, we first want to have a dig at him, but actually when you think about it, nowadays, I look at it now and I go, so many young kids get started getting dragged into these things, you know, like county lines, getting involved in drug dealing and stuff like that, that you kind of need people in the sport who can remind people just how good it can be if they can get some help, get a, you know, a fatherly hand around their shoulder and say, you know what, you know, maybe you could stay away from that. Come and do this. Be somewhere else than out there, you know?
Yeah. I think, like, people get drawn to the wrong things. So, like, they look at people that have made money or whatever, done it the right way, like Fury, Joshua, Beckham, all Rooney, and all, like, people that have done it the right reasons. But how am I going to get any, like, how am I just going to get the nice clothes or whatever quickly? That's how it, like.
Yeah. There's no easy way to do it. There is no easy way to do it.
Cut all of them corners, and we just, like, we know the consequences. Some people, that's enough to scare them off, but some people are like, well, this is the life I want to live. That's the consequences. Okay, they come hand in hand. Let's go.
It's and some people, especially say young children, now, consequences are what happened to other people. Do you know what I mean? That's what like, no, well, that won't be me. Do you know, I'm only doing a little bit here. I'm only getting a little bit from here. I'm only doing a little run here and there. You know, I'm just doing this. The next thing is like, you know, the police are involved, and your mum realizes your mum and dad realize what happened. You're like, okay, there are consequences. Do you know, it's kind of, and by that stage, it's too late.
I think, like, a lot of people, me included, at times think that I'm going to be the one that is special and different, and it ain't going to happen to me. Yeah. But let me, if anything, be the message that if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Like, it just wrong place, wrong time. Someone saw you doing something you shouldn't be doing, and that's it. That's all it takes. And then, like, just look at the bigger picture. Like, when people used to say that to me when I was young, and I used to think, I've got all the answers. Like they were saying it for a reason. Like, they were kind of using their experience to help me. And I don't know, maybe, I didn't always listen to it, but I know I should have. I should have. Like, they're not saying it to me to just make conversation, saying it for a reason. And it's up to the younger generation what they make of it.
Tell me about because you started running some women's only boxing classes as well, yeah?
Yeah. So, I've just decided to try it out, and to be fair, I had really quite a lot of interest in it, and it was really good, actually. It's a good laugh. But obviously I'm gutted that lockdown come along and stuff like that, because I had so many different ideas as well, because we was only just trying to test it to see how the if people were enjoying it, or if people wanted to come back and stuff, and the interest in, and it was quite good. So I had different ideas to start, so I can't wait to be able to go back to all of that.
Brilliant. And I've seen some of the videos you put out there, and you got a good few girls through the door of the gym. So what was the background of those people? People wanting to stay fit? People just want to try boxing?
Yeah, they're all different. So some people want to lose some weight. Some people just want to gain muscle or tone up a bit. Some people were just coming just for the social side of it. So it was really good, actually, and it's nice to see everyone just empowering each other as well. Yeah. So and then by the end, everyone's absolutely buzzing and smiles on faces, and it was a really nice atmosphere down there.
That's great, and you know what? It's just like a win-win, isn't it? You get to push yourself on a bit more. You get to work harder than you ever would before. You got people behind you who push you on as well, and then you just, it makes you feel good, apart from you're knackered, but you know,
Yeah,
mentally it gives you such a massive boost, doesn't it?
definitely it does. Your confidence literally, and there's some, I've had some younger girls as well that was too scared to come and
Yeah.
had low confidence, and they've been coming and they come back every week now, and they're so much better and so much more confident, and that's what I like to see. That is the reason I do it, you know. So all girls come together, and just because it's a boxing gym is for boys, you know, and that's what the big hoo-ha was about, because girls don't want to step into a boxing gym and feel embarrassed and stuff like that, and we're overcoming things like that now. It's like about time.
And that's the thing, only by you being in this situation, us having this conversation, can people realise that they've got nothing to worry about. However, there's nothing wrong with, as you said, it's so important to actually have that little bit where you can see, you can be that stepping stone to something if they want to come to the gym. If not, women's only boxing class is fantastic.
Definitely,
whatever helps, whatever gets people in through the door of the gym and whatever gets them the benefit from boxing, we've got to be all for it.
Exactly that, yeah, definitely.
So if you're that person now, when you talk about, you know, when you had your little girl and that, talk me through how, you know, what was the toughest part of that when it came to you returning back to boxing then?
It was so hard, and I knew that if I didn't do it then, I never was going to do it again. Because once you get in, for the 10 years of my life, it was literally boxing every night, and then to nothing. To then have to get back into it, it was so hard. But obviously, I really, really, really wanted to physically and mentally get back into how I used to be. Because actually, when I fell pregnant, I was probably at my best I've ever been at boxing. Best fitness level, best physically, just at my best. I literally just had the semi-finals of the ABA Senior Elite Championships, and against a top boxer, Ebony Jones. So that was probably my best, and then straight away went off to do nothing and then when I've gone back to the gym and I've realised how far behind I was, that's probably what was the hardest part. So when I was doing things, and I would say, well, when I done this 2 years ago, it was a piece of piss. But,
I gotcha.
But that was definitely the hardest. And then like losing the weight and stuff, that was the hardest part. But other than that, it was nice, because being with my daughter every single day, I love it so much, but having that time just to myself was really, really important, and I forgot that I needed that time until I started doing it.
And everything comes at a price. You know, you can have something even close to what you think you're going for, but it comes at a price. You know, young kids getting into debt, getting caught up in selling drugs. And, you know, one of my big worries, and this is why I started Boxing Saves Lives right at the beginning of lockdown, was that my worry was what's going to happen to these kids when we can't get them into the boxing gyms where they can get involved and be around people, have their peers around them, you know, have a friendly hand on your shoulder. That's a big concern, isn't it? Once this is all, you know, once it all relaxed the lockdown, these kids are going to be in debt to people.
Yeah.
Bad news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bad. Luckily, we've been able to, you know, keep in contact with our members, and we do like training sessions over online, so they can still keep their mental health and they can keep their fitness up. But there's so many kids out there that obviously ain't involved in the boxing, and they're used to just roaming around and maybe dipping in now and then to the gym, and you can still check up with them and just make sure they're right. But a lot of these kids haven't got this support network, and I think after this we're going to have to do. So a lot of work's going to have to be done so that, you know, we can go back to where we was, and to make sure there's, they've got a safe haven, a safe space for them to be.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And the thing is I talk about the means, the motives, and the opportunity for all these things. You know, the means, there's loads of vulnerable kids out there. The motive, you know, money. Each county line's taking in about £800,000 a year. That's going to be $1 million soon. And the opportunity, kids are out on the street, or not out, and even kids in their care are out in the street now, and they shouldn't be during lockdown. And the opportunity is there for people to get after them, to get them, to target them, to force them. But the boxing gym can be that that's where we can come in. We can get them out, take that opportunity away.
Yeah, it can be like a bubble. It can protect them from these vulnerable situations. But I just think obviously the government is trying its best and it does do stuff, but you know, all sports can be good for kids. You know what I mean? If they're off the streets, but so I'm not going to say boxing is like I put that above another one, but obviously boxing is a sport I'm really passionate about, and I've seen it, and I personally know it can help. So I just think a lot more investment needs to be put into boxing gyms and awareness in schools and program and organisations like yourself need to be funded. And I just hope that going forward, like they really do look at these kind of things.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that. And you and me both, man, because look, we know it works. All we can do is, all we know is we see it working all the time. You see it, even if you weren't a boxer, so if you weren't a professional boxer, you would see what goes on in the gym, because some people just come into the gym and train, but they still get the benefit of it, don't they?
Oh yeah, they're still getting a lot of benefit from it. Just like within themselves, getting fit and their self-esteem and having somewhere they can mingle and meet different people. And a lot of times, like I've seen it, I've had a lot of kids from our pre-referral units that are involved in knife crime, and then I let them come to the gym, or they come to the gym and they get deducted fees, because obviously a lot of times half of them pay with fees, but we really want them in the gym. And I've seen them go from being a kid that's in youth offending to not having to go anymore, because they've actually changed and they've actually turned it around, and what they want to do is they want to achieve something in the sport. And I think it's almost giving them a goal. When you give them a goal and give them something to aspire to, and they honestly feel they can do it, then it really can have a massive impact. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, one of the things I want to organise for some of these young kids, and this is one of the things I'm looking at funding, is I want to create, like, I missed the bit you said about fees, but I'm looking to create what we call a boxing bursary. So kids who are being identified could get like 20 free lessons at a boxing gym. So that takes away the problem where they don't have to, there's not means tested. They don't have to worry about how much they have to pay and having the money every week. They just have to get there. And I can arrange that for them for free. And that could be something, a great incentive. We can get identified the right kids who could, make the most of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because obviously a lot of kids that, the ones that normally haven't got a good home life, they might have broken homes, and they might only have one parent who's struggling with a lot of kids. And then you're asking the parent to pay £3, £4 a session, whatever it might be, and they can't afford it. So you don't see the kid for 3-4 weeks, and you say to him, "Oh, why wasn't you at the gym?" And he said, "Oh, I couldn't afford it." And you think to yourself, that shouldn't be the reason why you stop coming to something that's so positive in your life. So we do try our best to make arrangements so that these kids can come. But something like that, if you have this boxing bursary, that would just be a massive impetus to kids that really need help.
What was it that made you come into this and then just stay? Because to some people on the outside, Laura, it could be quite scary going into a boxing gym or a gym.
Oh yeah, it's so scary. Well, when I went in, it was a white collar gym and it was full up of older men. There was no girls there, and I walked in. And I didn't even say I was coming. I think I just came through the doors and I was like, I want to learn how to box. I think I was looking at me like, you're crazy, because this was years back. But with me, it was the hard work. Like as soon as I started doing it, I was out of breath, and I thought I was fit, and I was thinking, God, these different level type of fitness. So it was that, and it was also the way it makes you feel after you've done it. So like you go home and you have a shower or whatever, and you wake up, it makes you feel so good in the morning. You feel like, oh, I did a well workout yesterday, and it was something that I've never done before. Football training is one thing, and like being fit is another, but boxing, it just makes you feel so sharp mentally. It's not just physical, it's mental. It's and also it's just like you can get all your aggression out. So when I was a little kid, you carry a bit more aggression. I'm far from that now, but when you're younger, it just gets a little bit of aggression out, and it was starting to keep me occupied.
And that's really good. And you think you described it perfectly. Is that when I speak to people as well, it's like it's about channeling aggression. So when I deal with people who are getting involved in violence, is the kind of thing what Boxing Saves Lives is about now, trying to get people away from that kind of a life as early as possible, so they don't get drawn up in that, because sooner or later you can get yourself in a lot of trouble and stuff like that. And if you can handle your aggression long before that ever happens,
without a doubt,
how good can that be?
Yeah, and it's in a positive way as well, because it's not like you're getting aggression out in something which is like negative, you're doing a workout for one. For two, you're learning a lot of respect, and like, you know, you get put in order there. You have to listen to them, and you have to do whatever they tell you to do. If you, no matter how tired you are or how much you don't want to do it, so you learn a lot as well.
That's great, and those skills just come straight out the door of the gym with you, into school, into meeting your peers, kids around you, teachers, parents.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just different, but it's a good way to channel anything. Like, a lot of people that struggle mentally, it's brilliant for them. People that are struggling with anxiety, if you're fighting demons in your head and you need to get an escape from something, it's brilliant. Again, like aggression, you can't go wrong. If you want to learn self-defense, make friends, like, brilliant sport. You can't really fault it. It's just hard, but that's good.
Yeah, I spoke to somebody the other day that were saying, and I think this is what you've just touched on, is that, you know, even if you were kind of involved in things at school and getting in trouble with things, or you were being bullied yourself, it's about learning that not every fight has to be fought.
No.
You can walk away from things, you can not be that person.
Yeah, well, that's the stronger person. You know, the stronger person is just by walking away and just nothing sort of affecting you, nothing getting into your head. But that's a good way to learn it, I think. I think it's a really good way, because it requires a lot of mental toughness. So if you can be tough in that, you can be tough outside of it. And especially people going into schools, colleges. At this point when I started, I was in school still. So obviously school, it's got ups and downs to it. But this is a good way for some students that maybe aren't as nice in some ways or whatever. This is a good way just to block everybody out and just do your own thing and keep your head down.
And this is what people don't see, and this is the kind of thing I want to bring out with Boxing Saves Lives, that people don't realise the amount of work that boxing coaches are doing. You know, they're part of the communities, they do charities, fundraising events, they're getting kids off the street. But before all of that even happens, at 5 o'clock in the evening, they're out working jobs. You know, they're out working for the council, they're out driving diggers, they're out working in offices, they're out on the bricks. And that's the part of what people don't get to actually find out about. They just kind of assume that people who work in gyms.
And that can be the annoying thing, because obviously, like, it's an idea of my routine now. So I work, as you know, Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturday mornings. I'm up at 5:30. I get back home to my house 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm back in the gym for 7 o'clock, for 6:30, for the sessions to start 6:30 for the kids. So we have a Monday, we have a session from 6:30 to 7:30, and then a session from 7:30 to 9:30. Tuesday we do one-to-ones and stuff with a couple of little projects we're doing. Wednesday the same, 6:30 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9:30. Thursday again, 6:30 to 7:30, 7:30 to 9:30. Fridays we're generally out at shows, out at sparring, or doing something straight after work. Saturday mornings I'm in the gym from 8 o'clock, doing one-to-ones till 10 o'clock. Then the gym's open from 10 to 1. And as you know, mostly I do a lot with Steve Goodwin as well, and I've got 4 journeymen as well of my own that I train. So the pro shows then and amateur shows Saturday nights. Sundays we're out doing sprints over the field, and then we go to shows again. So the boxing's more full time than my job, but the difference is I don't get paid for boxing.
Yeah.
We're a non-for-profit gym, so I don't take no money out of the gym, and that's why we've been pretty okay through the COVID thing to a certain level. But the only time I get paid is when I do the pros, but that usually generally goes back into the gym anyway.
Yeah. Because you could go somewhere and get £100 for it, but you spend that on diesel or all of that stuff you're doing. You don't even go there taking a fight or a show and stuff.
Unless you're high level, the coaches, you don't get a lot. You get 10% of the purse. So it's not good. I'd say between 10 and 15% plus your expenses, you know.
And we talked earlier about, you know, some of the kids that come in off the street and that. So Liam, tell people a little bit more about the situation some kids find them in, or how they come to be presented at the gym.
Yeah. So I've got I take kids from the age of 6 years old, as you know. Not a lot of the gyms do. And I've got, in the younger element of kids, I have kids coming in, they're brought in by their parents because they're getting in trouble at school, they're misbehaving at home, they're obese, all sorts of different things like that. Or even as young as, I've had kids in my gym and still got a couple there who are as young as 12 and 13 and they're suffering with mental health problems because they're getting bullied at school, or they're, especially with the girls now, it's a weight thing. They're not eating right because they don't like their body look because of the way the media presents all how you should look and stuff like that. So that's what you're dealing with all the time. Like we have kids in there that are in there for mental health stuff. We have kids that are in there So a lot of it's mental health for kids nowadays.
Yeah.
People don't realise, you know, the pressure on kids is unbelievable.
That's a really interesting point you just made, Liam, because I've spoken to Laura Payne, who's a former Team GB athlete who's going pro recently,
Yeah.
and I spoke to Kay Prosper, and both of them talked about the pressure that's going on kids on social media. Exact same thing, the pressure on young kids.
Yeah, it's mental. The stuff that they see on there, you know, about their body types, what they should be doing, how they should be going in life. At the end of the day, the most important thing is their health at the end of the day, and that's it. That should be the most important thing for anybody.
Yeah. Now that you're a pro boxer and that, and you know, how did you? Because it's been about over a year now since you started doing your own thing and you kind of training kids. How did you get to a situation where you were dealing with kids in PRUs then and people like doing that kind of work yourself, like Terry does with you? How did you get to the point where you were actually getting kids through the door of the gym that you were helping?
I think when I started, let me think about this. I was doing electrics before, and I just kind of fell out of love with it, and I'd already done like personal training before, you know, qualified, and I just said to myself, you know what, I don't want to do electrics anymore, if I'm honest. Maybe not forever, but I don't want to do it right now. I don't want to do it anymore. I kind of want to do something close to what I do. I want to do some coaching, not some coaching per se, but some personal trainers, helping some people, you know, lose weight, help with their anxiety, just help with their confidence in general. And it wasn't really specific to kids. It wasn't really specific to anyone. It was just specific to anybody that felt like that I could help.
Yeah.
With the whole mental health aspect of it, which is anxiety and all that, and all things like that. And you know, I expected it to just be, you know, a lot of adults, but a lot of kids came out of the woodwork. A lot of parents came towards and goes, listen, I put an advert out, you know, about anxiety, about, you know, learning about this. And funny enough, I actually used one of my friends' cousins, 2 kids, and just doing some pay bits with them. And I got them to talk about it, and they were like, "Yeah, I felt so much better."
I actually remember that now you say that. Yeah, that's great.
Next thing you know,
it
just flooded with parents.
Yeah.
During my kid, he needs this, and then it just started rolling off. And it just kept on going. It just, you know what I mean? It just kept on going, and it, you know, it wasn't just, you know what I mean? It wasn't just kids. It was a lot of adults, a lot of people around my age, people older than me, a lot of women, a lot of men, funny enough.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I mean, of course it would be. You know, a lot of men going through. I didn't realise a lot of men that would be going through so many mental health, that would have so many mental health issues coming to me about it.
Well, that's the thing we forget about when we talk about young kids and that. Is that you can help, you know, boxing helps so many people who are older as well. Even you go down to the gyms now, any gym, you see the older lads in there, do you know what I mean, grafting away. And I was undergoing, I haven't been to the boxing gym in about 4 months. You know what I mean? If I'm lucky, I'm looking at these guys going, I can't do that at the moment. And I don't mind taking a few pictures and writing something up, but I'm not doing it. But there are people in there, you know, people in their 50s even, there, you know, doing a session, doing the groundwork and all that. It's amazing to see that.
And it's just, you know what I mean, it's good. You know what I mean, I'm learning so much myself in general, and just when you're talking to so many people, you learn to, I don't know, you kind of, because it's not just I'm training you and that's it. It kind of, you build a relationship with, you build relationships with these people. You know, you get to know their lives. You give them advice to an extent. You talk to them. There's so many different. You know, what I mean, your job isn't just a personal trainer, you know, or a coach or anything. And then the school came knocking on my door. Aspire School just literally said, "Oh, how you doing, mate? You know, we've got some troubled kids and we want to."
Yeah, that was going to be the next
and
where we get to that point. Yeah.
Literally, that was it, and they just, you know, obviously COVID's just messed up everything, but you know, I'd secured maybe 4 contracts with like 2 schools and things like that. Just, you know what I mean? It just, and it was really picking up momentum, and it just, and the next thing you know, it just, this COVID just really got in the way of it. And what
was the patterns among the young kids that were kind of pointed in your direction then? What kind of issues were those kids having then? And what kind of age range are we talking about, for starters?
For what I had from 11 to 16.
Yeah.
11 to 16.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, I want to say the most vulnerable are.
Yeah.
To an extent, because a lot of them have so many anger issues. A lot of them have issues from home.
Yeah.
A lot of them just need an escape, need some attention, needs some confidence building, needs something to focus on.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of them don't really have a lot to do. So it is easy to just run with the wrong crowd. And what I noticed is a lot of them are really angry. Just so angry. Not they're not even sure what at.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I show them some attention, give them some, show them this, show them some attention, show them some something to do. They do it, they achieve it, or they're doing something and they do good at it, and then they get props for it.
Yeah.
Then you see their whole attitude change.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, actually, I can actually do something. Because a lot of them do probably feel worthless, because that's probably what they've been told most of their life. So
That's an issue.
one
It's
thing I
huge.
did, one thing I looked and I see some of them, their faces, and they're like, come up to me and they go, mate, I was training the other day, I was doing that shadow boxing and I was practicing that fingers, and I'm sitting there thinking, damn, you went home and you actually, you
took
know
that
what,
with you.
good man. That makes me feel good. No money can make me feel like that did. Do you know what I mean?
Great.
No amount of money can make me feel like that. And I went, that's good. And I started to really see that all of them just coming in, they're listening. Before when I first come, they showed me a lot of respect, but now they're respecting because they didn't like their teachers.
Yeah.
And they'd come in and they'd disrespect their teachers, say all that. And I tell them, look, that's not cool.
It's gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That will take you lower.
Yeah.
And lower and lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to act better. Yeah. You need to act better. The better you act, the more opportunities you give yourself. So, and as I just watched them progress, they now came in very well behaved. Always, they're quite. I mean, they're good kids. They're all good kids at heart.
Yeah.
They
And they are kids. That's the
they're
thing.
they're just kids. They're all good kids at heart, and they're just. I don't know. They're just not
bit lost.
no confidence at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not confident at all. But I really started to see something coming up to the back end of it, and then obviously COVID happened, and they look up to you. And I always say to them, I always said like where I am as well, I've got a massive responsibility, not just wanted or not. Like when they're looking up at me and they go, yeah, you had a fight, man, you smacked. Like when I won the title, they all come look to me and they were like, oh my god, you well done, man. They were looking at me like, wow, and I goes, bruv, it's just if you just put your mind to it, if you just, do you know what I mean? Just find something and just push.
Go with
and
it.
Keep
Yeah.
pushing.
Yeah.
Keep pushing. Don't let nothing stop you from it. Just keep pushing. Give 100%. You're gonna be here. Yeah. I'm a bit bruised and battered, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they looked at me and they were like, "You look battered." I goes, "Yeah, I'm a bit bruised and battered, but I've got what I was working for." So do you know what I mean? Like that's how it works.
That's a great metaphor for life, because
it
you know
is.
what, you'll have to do graft at uni, you'll have to do 1,000 interviews trying to get a job, and then you get the job, and then it'll all be worth it. You know what I mean? But you have to put that time in.
Yeah.
When you get young kids that come into the gym, where did it come from, Aidan? How does a young kid come into a kickboxing gym?
I mean, honestly, you've been in the gym, you've seen it. We've got kids from every nationality, background, every corner of Luton. Sometimes we get kids come in the door, and then mum and dads will bring the kids in, and they'll say to Amir, he's getting in trouble in school, she's getting in trouble in school, or they've got too much energy at home, and prime example from a kid who sometimes, it's easy, it's easy to, write off, and, it changes lives. It does change lives. And what I hear a lot of in the gym is the parents saying to myself and Amir is, since so-and-so's been doing Thai boxing, kickboxing, the martial arts, concentration in school's a lot better, behaviour at home's a lot better.
That's great.
A lot less aggression towards their brothers and sisters. So it's it's just all positive, and it's more about mental building, and as much as it's about the physical.
Yeah. So when the kids come into your gym for the first time, what I found, let me explain this to you. And I went from your gym a few months ago over to meet some people over at Liam Conroy's gym in Dunstable.
Okay, yeah.
And I was talking to somebody there, and they're asking me about, they were watching the young kids training in his gym.
Okay.
And they were absolutely astonished, how disciplined the kids were. And I was trying to explain to them that I popped into the gym at Storm Gym, and I'd gone in there, and there must have been 30 kids training in there, and I was standing there chatting to Amir. And all the children stopped. They stopped halfway through, as they were running around, stopped, and all said hello to me, really respectfully. They stopped the session, and he just carried on. Like, they all carried on. Somebody came in, made me a cup of tea, I know as I was leaving, you know, I'd been chatting to him for half an hour. As I left, children stopped all wave goodbye to me. I thought, oh, just kind of really respect among the young children. It was amazing. Like, it's just like, and when I was up with Liam's gym, and they were really impressed with what they were seeing with the kids, you know, running around, you know, as in running around, as in doing a little circuit. And I said, you know what, this is great here, and I love it. I said, but you should have seen what I just saw down the road down at Thorn Gym. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, Amir's got like these fundamental rules that all the kids get, you know, taught. You know, rule 1 and rule 2, rule 3, and somewhere along is, you know, respect your elders, respect your parents. And a lot of the parents come in, and they say to Amir, you know, so and so's been playing up this week. His behaviour hasn't been great. So Amir's like, okay, they can come in the gym, but they're not training today. You know, so he, you know, and they can't train again until mum and dad comes back in and says, you know what, you know, their behaviour's picked up. So yeah, I mean, with the little ones, the first, I'd say, 10 lessons is more about, you know, discipline, line up, you know, hands by your side, you know, over contact or too much, you know, intense training. It's just, like I said, more about discipline, being switched on, you know, and then that's when they progress. Once they've got the fundamentals of, you know, like I said, just discipline, listening, knowing the rules of the gym, respecting their teammates, respecting their coach, and that's when, you know, you put the boxing gloves on then, and you know, you get to go on the bag and stuff.
You know, when I started this whole project to begin with, I said it isn't going to be just about the boxers themselves. I want people to understand all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, the great benefits that coaches like yourself are given to people who you will never read about. I won't ever have to write about them in the newspaper because they won't ever be in the ring and getting involved. In fact, they were literally just enjoying the benefits of boxing.
Absolutely.
All that other stuff.
But yeah, we're just stoked. I mean, it's like this morning, the people I took out running this morning, you'd think, you know, I think there was 3 ex-boxers with me this morning, both 51 and 52, fit as a fiddle. They could get in the ring tomorrow, I'll be honest with you. They're going 10 rounds in the pads for me, you know, and yeah, they'd feel it, but you know, they love it. But going back to the boxing side, where I'm doing now is we invite anyone to come along. We set an all-level class. We do boxing movements. We do boxing. It's based around a boxing, like 3-minute rounds. They'll do the circuit for 3 minutes, have a 30-second recovery. I know we should have longer, but we don't. But you know, stuff like that. But yeah, with boxing, I can't. I'm so passionate and love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I can hear that in your voice. I can see that. Fantastic.
And it's given me a life, really. I mean, from a young kid, I know you hear this story. Everyone says, "Oh, we could have gone the wrong way. We could have." Yeah, we could have. And I think I've had a good life, so I can't complain about. I've got 2 lovely grandchildren. I've got girls, and they've all grown up, and they were all into fitness. So I think, wow. And I do online fitness classes now because of what's happening, and it's nice to see the numbers that are coming on there and doing it. Yeah. And it's all based around boxing, you know.
So what was it like you starting out when you moved on from your coaching role and then decided you were going to start your box fit? What was that like starting that out? Because what type of people did you think you were going to begin focusing on, Dave, when you decided to do that?
Yeah, it was a lot of I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of ladies were coming in, and the ladies loved it. I mean, press ups, burpee jumps, they were loving it. Punching, they used to punch the hell out of me. They still do. And I've had a few right hands for the ladies where I've said 1, 2, and they've gone 1, 2, 3, and bang, you know. And but yeah, so it started off with a lot of ladies. Now it's the men are coming in and mixing it. I say in our classes, as I say before, a regular Kay's a regular. I know I keep saying his name, but he's a regular to the class because it's a different type of fitness for him. He's got his boxing and his pad work, and he comes to us and he'll still work. I mean, he'll tell you himself what he goes out like, and he loves it, you know. But and so it's the mixture of people, and it's nice to introduce Kay when he's going for a fight. I like him to come to my classes, and I introduce him to people. I said, look, this lad's local. Let's get supporting him, and he'll buy sell some tickets in our place, which is what it's all about. Yeah. Get behind the local fighters and, you know, get them out there.
Mixed martial arts is literally what it is. It's a mixture of martial arts. There is no set style that you learn. I mean, every different club will have different styles of MMA. So your corner posts of MMA is your boxing, your kickboxing, Thai boxing, your wrestling, and your jiu-jitsu. They're the 4 styles of mixed martial arts that you kind of really need to learn. But like I said, different clubs have different strengths. So our strength is boxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Other clubs will be Muay Thai and wrestling. It all depends on which club you go into, really.
Got you. And so we spoke to, a few weeks ago, we spoke to Aidan Patsalidis from Storm Gym in Luton, and he's talked us through K1 and Muay Thai and understanding the difference of them in competition. Tell us a little bit about jiu-jitsu for people who don't understand that one.
Okay, so our style of jiu-jitsu is Brazilian. Okay, it's majority in the gi. A gi is the jacket and the pants that you wear. It's a lot of chokes. It's a lot of limb submissions. So it's mainly control. It's designed from years ago. It's called a small man's martial arts, where you learn how to deal with bigger opponents and how to control them, really. And it's just evolved from there, and it's forever evolving. It's always getting better. It's always progressing.
So it's like really, really close in kind of thing, whereas kickboxing, you're talking about boxing at range. Now you're talking about when you're getting in close with people and working in and getting out of kind of lock in.
Yeah.
And how does wrestling come into it then?
Wrestling is I mean, it's 2 styles. They complement each other, really, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling. Wrestling's a lot of controlling, top pressure, and a lot of throwing and taking down. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is kind of adapting with what's in front of you, really. So you could be even on the bottom. That doesn't mean you're losing. Where wrestling, you try and maintain on top. But yeah, to the untrained eye, it looks very similar, but it is very much different.
Yeah, you know what? It's just when you explain that, it's when you're talking about when you're on, if you're on the ground, and it doesn't mean particularly that you're losing. It's quite similar to something we learned a few weeks ago, is the different types of martial arts, where one will give you points for being aggressive, whereas the other you could be getting beaten up. But if you're delivering the right shots, then you could be on top of it, and that's quite good because we're kind of learning all the time and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely, that's it.
So, which part of it do you find that people who come into your gym move towards your gym towards? Do they come in for looking at boxing, or what attracts somebody for a gym like yours or any MMA gym?
Even though we are an MMA gym, we do get a lot of guys that come in just to learn boxing, just pure boxing, which makes me happy because we're not an established boxing club, even though we do teach it a lot.
Yeah.
But it varies with some guys that come in. They really want us to take up MMA, and I say, look, it's not. You don't just learn MMA. You have to learn it all. So you have to learn your boxing. You have to learn your kickboxing and your grappling. Yeah, so it all varies.
I love anything that builds up young people and gives them, like I always use the expression self-worth. That to be good feeling about themselves. You know what I mean? And I see that all the time in your gym. And, how do you see young people, the difference? Because you have the 2 different types. You have the young cocky ones that jump through the door of the gym, and then you have the young shyer ones. How do you deal with either one of them as a coach?
I think it's horses for courses, really. You've got to know what the young people are about. Obviously, you can't pigeonhole everyone into the same category. And to be fair, as you've been down to our gym before, our gym is a welcoming, embracing, loving gym, and it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're white, black, Asian, a traveller, like it literally doesn't matter. As soon as you walk through that door, we're all one. And everyone gets down. You've been here many a time. Everyone gets down, they train, they feel the love, and then they leave. Like, it's just, I don't know, I think with gyms and your slogan, boxing save lives, I know it's really cliche, but I think it literally does. And with our gym, I think it literally has done. It has literally saved lives. Like if we weren't here, not that we attract the baddest of the people in this area, but there has been a few rude boys. but maybe boxing's helped them to stay focused and not go off on that tangent. This is it for me, Jay.
Yeah.
With a young person, you can catch them when they're at that crossroads. They're either going to go left or they're going to go right.
Yeah.
And one may be a good way to go down, and one could be a bad way. Now, what I want to try to do, and what I'm really passionate about, is giving these young people the opportunity to choose the correct path. And for me, that's why I love doing my boxing. This is why I love engaging with young people, because I want to help the young people to achieve their potential. And if you don't know, we set up an organisation, me and Kay, called Sporting Links. It's like Your Boxing Saves Lives, the same sort of ethos. And the ethos behind it was we like to give young people an opportunity in construction and also to develop their boxing skills. Now, when Linus was with us, he was one of them young people that I got him an electrical apprenticeship, and he was getting qualified as an electrician. But obviously with Linus, he's an exceptional talent. Yeah. So in a way, he's kind of like focused more on his boxing rather than his academics. But obviously everyone may not be as gifted as Linus. So we want to be there as a club to obviously allow them to pursue both avenues. So they can pursue their academic ability, they'll always have a plan B to fall back on, but also so that they can achieve their boxing potential as well. And that's what I want to be here for, to help young people that come along to me. If we can formulate our program, which is what we're trying to do going forward, then obviously we want to get young people apprenticeships, face them with people, just give them that chance. That's all you need in life is a chance.
Yeah.
Like hopefully Linus and Kate both go on to do good things. But actually, if we weren't here as a boxing club, they probably both wouldn't have been where they are now. So actually, our boxing club has helped them. And I also say that has helped other people along the way as well.
So, you know, it's the discipline that it gives. Now, I was only in the gym, so I went there just purely for fitness for football. And I was only in the boxing gym for 6 months to a year, not very long at all. And I only started because a few friends went there. I actually had a fight the week before. And I was like, oh, the lads are like, oh, come on, we're going to boxing. There's only 4 of us went down there. But the discipline you take from that, you take away with you. When, you know, it's one of those, it's a tricky one because some don't, some will go to the gym so they can fight. They know how to fight. You know, the guys I went with, they've all sort of gone down the route of drugs, drug dealing, fighting on the streets. Whereas myself, I saw it and I took it as, you know, other people approached me looking for fights and I've walked away. I've never, apart from that one fight I had before I started in the gym, I've not had a fight since.
Yeah.
You know, and I wasn't a naughty kid, I wasn't a troublemaker, I wasn't someone who went round and give it a big and all the time as such. You know, I wasn't one of those kids, but I knocked around in those groups of people.
Yeah. And the thing is, in that situation, in that group, you know, if you didn't have that kind of little bit of structure or you didn't understand the ideas of respect, you could get easily dragged into it. And we see a lot now at the moment with county lines. Now we're talking about young people getting pulled into groups. You know, 11 or 12 years old now, James, getting exploited, that's the word, by grown-ups, and, you know, getting pulled into drug gangs and serving up drugs and, you know, taking over, you know, trap houses and cuckooing. It's insane, man. But it's weird how, you know, we both know people who have been in that life as well. And you know what? It can be just an easy turn for people to begin with, and, you know, not everybody can get it. But I think our sport can actually help people come back from that life. Do you know what I mean? To get back to their become the person they actually wanted to be to begin with.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got a 14-year-old sister, and I would much rather she grew up when I was 14 than now. Now, when I was 14, yeah, you know, you'd have a few scraps, you know, you'd be beat down on the street as such, but that would be it. Now, I mean, she's been in a few fights. She's in with the wrong crowd. She's coming to me and saying, "Oh, can I get a punch bag from the garden to let my frustrations out?" Now, she's not a fighter, but she's been attacked a number of times. You know, I was on a bus, and she was on the same bus as me. She came over and she had black eyes, scratches down her face.
Good God.
And I was like, "What happened?" She went, "Oh, you know, these 2 girls jumped me." "Why'd they jump you?" "Oh, well, I caught their cousin a slag." And I'm like, "Well, you need to avoid that situation.
Yeah.
But back in the day was it's a bit of main coin and whatnot. And now it's a case of they're getting outnumbered. It's never a one-on-one fight these days. And I said to her, I think you've got to be careful because one day someone's going to have a knife.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Bluntly, as one day you will be in hospital if you're lucky.
I always just remind myself, I haven't been doing this for 10 years. I started when I was 11, yeah? I had my first fight when I was 11. I'm 21 now. I haven't been doing this for that long for me to turn around now and go, do you know what, yeah? I don't want to do this no more. Or, it'd just be such a waste. Even for myself, I just think there's no turning back for me now. I just want to make it all the way to the top. And even on them days that, I feel like I don't want to go to the gym, I always remind myself that there's good things coming. I haven't been doing it, and I haven't been putting all this hard work in all over these years for nothing. Like, even with the bricklaying, like, it's all going to pay off at one point.
And I love the way you've just kind of compared the two, because I often say to people is that, when you talk to people in boxing gyms, is that with boxing you kind of learn to understand your weaknesses, and play to your strengths, and finding things out the hard way in boxing, and listen to other people and that, and understanding disappointment can be a good thing for life, because you're going and getting involved in things, you go on interviews, you're not getting jobs, you're trying to get on in your job and it's not working, you're trying something new. Boxing can be a good way to actually build you towards how life goes for you. You got to live a life on your terms.
Absolutely. I'm quite lucky because I can't really see what I'd be like if I wasn't doing boxing, but I know for sure, just my personality, and I just sort of know that things for me wouldn't be how they are. Do you know what I mean? I always remind myself boxing's done too much for me, and it's like what I said in the last video. I haven't always been there for boxing, but boxing's always been there for me, and I'll always be thankful for that. Yeah. And that's something I could never sort of take away. Like, it's a humbling thing that's always been there for me, and I haven't always given it 100%. But now I'm giving it 100%. They're both sort of teeing off each other, So it's like anyone who's watching the video, or any young lads or whatever, it's all about what you put in. Enjoy yourself, have a good time. Everyone's got to see their pals at some point, but at the end of the day, you've got to realise what you're good at, and you've got to realise what your craft is, and just push on it. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just keep doing what you're doing, and keep your head down and just go for it.
You don't know where you're going to go next in terms of where you're boxing, but you're just going to try and pick up some more fights this year and that. What's your ambition for your coach? What's it like working with Liam Conroy all the time? Feel free to say what you like, honestly.
He is literally, my coach has turned into family.
Yeah.
Like, to begin with, I was very nervous, and sometimes obviously you have to have a level of discipline. You have to know when you to joke around and when you need to train and put in the hard work. So there's definitely that fine balance of when we joke and when he screams at me. But I scream back, so it's okay. We have that level of respect for each other, so it's really good.
And do you think that respect is how he managed to bring out the best in you? And when you mentioned earlier about understanding, what your weakness is and what you can do better, do you think it's important to build that relationship with the coach?
Yeah, definitely. Like, sometimes if I'm having a bad day at training, he'll always just let me relax for a minute. He won't pressure me into doing any sparring that I'm not prepared to do. Or if he knows I'm anxious about something, he'll talk me through it first, ease me in slowly before we actually do it properly. So yeah.
How does your love of boxing resonate with people around you then? Your mum, your dad, your friends?
My family are really supportive. Some of my relatives are quite nervous of me getting into a boxing ring because I'm a young girl, so it can be quite nerve-wracking for them because they don't want me coming home with dripping blood. But my friends are also proud of me, and they all want to see me succeed, and it gives them like confidence knowing that I fight as well. I've had quite a lot of negative comments from it as well. Obviously, you have people who laugh and don't think that you could achieve what I have achieved.
Yes.
So, but slowly over time, as I've achieved more, they have settled down because they've realised that I'm doing okay for myself and they don't need to be a part of it.
Yeah, I love that. And having spoken to professional boxers like Kate Prosper and indeed Team GB fighters like Laura Payne, both of them talk about, you know, the troubles of social media and stuff like that, how people have access to you, you know, what you're doing out there. But it looks like, to be honest, Morgan, you've really pushed through that and you've come out the other end. And without making Liam blush, I mean, he speaks so incredibly highly of you and he's very proud of you. And yeah, it's, you know, I've seen you, you know, excel in the gym, and it's amazing just seeing how hard you work. So yeah, it seems like, you know, you've risen above it all. And yeah, I'm just really pleased to be able to get an interview with you, to be honest.
Thanks.
So anybody who's watched you today, what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about it, like we mentioned earlier, thinking about coming to a boxing gym?
Just go for it. It doesn't matter your age, your ability, your background, it doesn't matter your fitness level. If you want it, then you can have it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you might not be able to afford every single session. Go on runs around the grass, go to a local park, lift up water bottles, they're just as good as weights, fill them up. So just do little things like that and it will help.
Love that. Listen, thank you so much for speaking to Boxing Saves Lives today, Morgan. And yeah, hopefully this will be the start of quite a few interviews we're doing over the coming months. So thank you.
Thank you.